Please welcome AWS Head of North America Data and AI, Arym Diamond.
Hello, I'm Aryem Diamond. I told them I would not come on without the right conditions. You guys caught up. They were like 15, 20 minutes behind. Perfect. So I think they're going to click me on the new timing here. Whoever's rolling the time, if you can throw up the new time. It says 8 minutes, 9 minutes. Do I have 30 minutes? 25? Oh, boy. There we go. There we go. All right. My name is Arym Diamond. I'm part of the leadership team at AWS. It is great to be here. I want to start and say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending time with us. I really appreciate the partnership that we have with SingleStore. Looking for Raj, he made some really kind comments earlier, so we like that. Rather than give you my bio, let me share a little story with you. This is my wife's childhood house. It was early 2000s, and my mother-in-law, who's divorced, she said, Arym, she said, you seem like a sharp guy. I said, Linda, thank you. She said, what do you think I should do with my life? I said, well, let's look at this. Your kids are all grown up. You have this big house to yourself, all this equity. Why don't you sell the house? Within 2 months, the childhood house is sold. My wife was pissed, and so were the rest of the siblings. About a year later, my wife said, you know, Arym, you have a gift. She said, you don't tell people what they want to hear, you tell people what they should hear. And so my wife said, hey, when you go do this, go tell people about AI what they should know, not what they want to hear. So if I'm a little bit controversial today, or I'm a little bit tough, you can blame my wife. Everyone okay with that? Looking here? Okay, all right, here we go. We all have challenges in our business, and let's go ahead and talk through them. Bias. I fell in love with AI through the following story. There was a group of doctors, and they were trying to figure out, along with all these analysts, how to lower the readmittant rate of people going back in the hospital. We can all agree that people going back in the hospital after major surgeries is a worthwhile cause. They're putting all the combinations up. And in the end, they ended up deciding to use an AI tool. And what came out of the AI tool was shocking. Women under the age of 30 with diabetes had the highest readmittance rate. It turns out that using insulin during dieting after a surgery is very, very dangerous. The team was looking for old white guys, but it was women under 30 with diabetes. And so as we all think about our business, what biases do we have about our processes, our customers, our stakeholders? We have bias in our business. I see people shaking their heads. I like it. We're in an intimate room. You can give me encouragement. So we have bias. Never have I heard from any company that productivity is an issue. No one is saying I have enough people, I have plenty of time to get stuff done. And we have all this data. There's been more data created in the last 5 years than all of human history. I think it resonates. So we have a challenge. We've seen traditional AI, we've seen generative AI, and now we're seeing agentic AI. And I would argue that all three are important and all three are relevant. Everyone's talking about agentic, 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 agentic. What is agentic? Tons of definitions. I want to simplify it, right? Software systems to go engage goals and tasks. That's it. It's not scary. It can be scary, but it's not scary. I think everyone knows what's going on with agentic. So really interesting to see the stats from Gartner. Look at that, 1% up to 33% in software. We see companies like SingleStore and others embedding AI into their products. 15% of our decisions may be coming from agentic. Really interesting. We all see it. It's happening. It's not a matter of if or when, it's happening right now. You're probably doing it already. So great that Gartner shows this. I want to keep with Gartner. Look what they say, though. 40% of projects will be canceled. 40%. Look around. 4 out of 10 of you, if you weren't here at this conference, would have this problem. We're not going to have it, right? Because you're here, you're very smart. But think about that. 40% of projects, unclear business value, risk, escalating costs. That is really scary. This is what should scare us, all of us. That's a huge statistic. Only plug I'm going to give for AWS. and that is we want to be the best place to build and deploy the world's most trusted and useful agents. So a gentleman on my team, Patrick, asked this question. I love it. And he said, what if you just had an unlimited supply of the most intelligent people? What would you do? What would you do? Think about that. And some of you are excited, but some of you just hit that aha moment of, oh boy, do I have empathy? Do I have empathy to understand my internal stakeholders, my customers, my employees, the outcomes? This is really exciting with Agentic, but it's forcing all of us to look inward and do we really understand our business? This is big stuff. This is really tough stuff. I was at our LA summit. I sat with a customer. It was great. He said, Arym, he's like, I just don't want to screw it up. Just tell me how to not screw this up. And I said, okay, 3 things. And so this is my how to not screw up slide. As you go Agentic, number 1, security matters. Well, it's been a while since we talked about identity management, but these agents have to have their own unique identity. They have to be secure. They have to be traceable. If agents are going to do stuff on our behalf or with us, they have to be secure. You can mess almost everything up other than this. You mess up security, you have broken trust. You will not recover. Or if you recover, it's going to be a really long time. So if I were in your shoes and I were thinking about Agentic, security would be absolutely number 1 on the list. Everyone's shaking their head. No one seems upset yet. I like it. Nothing too controversial. Number 2, flexible enterprise workflows. It's great that we're going into these Agentic workflows, but they cannot be rigid. And we have to think about what we do today and why. It can't just be option 1. There's option maybe 1 through 20. The workflows have to be dynamic. You cannot just build one workflow that's Agentic and think that every scenario is going to line up. You already know this, but I'm saying it so that you feel good about having that conversation with your team is, do we have flexibility in what we're building? How do we know how many workflows are too many, too little, or how many of those variations should be there? Then the cost model. What's this going to do to our data? How much data do we need? How do we know if the return on investment is worthy? Is it outcome-based? Is it not outcome-based? Like, how are we measuring it? So these are the big 3 things: security, enterprise workflow, and the cost model. By the way, I'm leaving time for Q&A, so I'm going to let you throw some curveballs and have fun on this. So if you're thinking of things or want clarification, we'll have plenty of time for that. From the technology side, I love the technology, but again, we cannot fall in love with the technology. Let's fall in love with the problem, not the solution. We've all in this room have been through this before, whether it was service-oriented architecture, the mobile phone, moving to the internet, we've done this. But let's remind ourselves to not get enthralled with the technology, this concept of Agentic, but the business problem that we're going after. We have done this before. We've seen this movie before, history. Thomas Edison goes and creates the light bulb, and nothing against Thomas Edison, amazing achievement, but the world did not change through the light bulb coming on. The world changed when the world put it into motion. Work got reimagined, reinvented when electricity created the assembly line and people could go do all the things. And my point is that we have the ability to make this work. It's not the Agentic agent technologies being built. The change in business, what Raj was talking about, real return, is going to come from us taking this technology and rethinking and rebuilding how it is used by our internal stakeholders and our customers. Very exciting, but it puts a lot of responsibility on us. Does this excite you? Okay, all right, good. Here's the problem. Over the last 100 years, we've built all this company structure. We're just too rigid. There's too much friction. There's too many rules. How easy is it to get anything done in your company right now? Outside of AI and Agentic. Like, raise your hand if it's easy and everything you want is easily done with one requested email or phone call. Raise your hand. figured. Raj raises his hand. That's like when you're the boss, you can. But yeah, we all have that, right? I have that. It's really, really tough. A lot of this stuff feels like one-way doors. People always ask me, what do you talk about at Amazon? We talk about the concept of a one-way and a two-way door. And a one-way door is we can't turn back. It's almost impossible to wind that down. But ask yourselves, how much friction is there? How much fear is there with Agentic? And here's what no one wants to talk about. No one wants to talk about the people. Because most of the people in your company, on your team, are afraid of their jobs going away. And why wouldn't they? Every time you turn on the news, that's the theme. Whether it's real or not, I'm happy to give you my personal opinion, but that's what sells stories. What do you think people, I think Raj said he had an 8-year-old son. I have a son who's 14, talking about what he wants to do, thinking about college. What's the question that comes up? What jobs are going to be relevant now that AI is here? It's freaking people out. How do we transform our companies where we take that friction out? How do we build a company, a culture within our company where friction is reduced, time is shorter, risk is minor, and cost is low? And at AWS, we call that a two-way door, where if we go through it, we make a mistake, we can come back, we can fix it. It's going to be okay. This is the challenge for all of us here. How do we get Agentic in a two-way door scenario? I see people nodding their heads. That's good. I think you agree. Nothing too crazy here. That's how we do at AWS. We do a lot of writing. We do a lot of analysis. That is the tiebreaker of all transformative decisions. It's one of them. Is this a one-way or two-way door? We can debate if it's a one-way or two-way door. But at Amazon, if someone says this is a two-way door and they can prove it and there's agreement, go. Go experiment. Go play. Go do something wild. I would argue that we need that with Agentic. If we don't, we're just going to go too darn slow. Okay, very theoretical. People seem to be smiling. I haven't offended anyone. Let me give you something practical, and then we'll do some Q&A. So this is so practical that even if your team saw this, it still works. And many of you have done this before. It's called Find Your Use Case. So we've all probably gone through use case workshops. This is something you can do at the executive level, the team level. I really like doing it in person. You can do it with Miro boards and stuff. I really like it in person, old school, the paper up on the wall. So here's how you do this. Get a discussion, everyone sitting at a table, talk about a business problem, talk about a challenge. Get everyone to talk about those challenges. No more than 30, 45 minutes. You'll have no problem getting the challenges. Don't let it go on for hours. Then tell the folks, hey, I want you to take the sticky. I want you to write down the 3 challenges that you think we, our group, should go over. Don't put your name on it. Write the 3, put 1, 2, 3, and go stick it on the wall. Let all those stickies get on the wall and then crowdsource it. Go pick the top 2, the top 3. You'll probably have a list of 5 or 6. The top one is always obvious. Second or third, you'll see. Okay? That's the first part. Then you're going to break up into groups. I like 5 to 7 people per group, about 25 minutes. You tell them, everyone's going to work on the same use case. You say, look, we're all going to work on the same use case. We're going to solve this problem. We think it may be agentic AI, whatever it is. And we're going to come back and talk. But here's what you do. You ready for it? You tell them, at the end of this, there's going to be one speaker from the group that's going to present for about 3 minutes. But you tell them, I'm going to pick the speaker, not you. Why is that important? Because in every group, there's someone that wants to dominate, and they won't shut up. You know who that is in your team. And there's the person that's uninterested. Maybe they want to tank it. There's everyone else in between. When they break up into that group, and they have that tension of being chosen as the speaker, you will get traction. People will start interacting because they're so afraid of being the speaker and blowing it in front of their peers. It's tough to go present in front of the peers, but it's healthy. And what you want to do is you're going to want to walk around. You want to check on them. Don't let anyone fail. Give them a few minutes. You'll see them come together. Have them do standing room. Come in, have them show it to you. Hey, that looks good. A little bit more, a little bit less here. Get those ideas down, but time box it. 25, 30 minutes, again, not hours. Fast, crisp, get it up there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go around the horn. 3 minutes, literally with the phone, with the buzzer. You got 3 minutes uninterrupted, and don't let anyone give feedback. They can clap afterwards, but don't do questions and feedback. And then do that with every single group there. Again, you all have done a permutation of this. This still works. Getting people in a room, standing up, writing down the use case, writing down the problem, it works, but you got to get broad-based participation. Oh boy, here we go.
I'm going to keep it very general. What are the top use cases that you're observing in AWS for Agentic AI?
Yeah, so question is the top use cases. We see them all over, but we see a lot of productivity on the developer side. So how do people that are building product or developers or just people in that top of the funnel do something? We see a lot in customer support, customer success triaging. And then every line of business is putting something in, but I would say the in customer success, reducing churn, customer satisfaction, how people are doing, that seems to be getting the most traction right now. Thank you for the question.
Thank you so much. How do you ensure the accuracy of the agentic AI in healthcare? You mentioned healthcare, for instance, or banking. Like when you have regulation and everything, how do you do it to measure it and to ensure like the answer is correct?
Yeah, so regulated industries, I mean, you all know, I think there's a lot of people from financial services here. I mean, you have to, and for good reason, work through that. So first and foremost, is it legal? Is it ethical, right? Let's answer those questions. But you have to go through it and make sure you understand the policies and then what can be done. It goes back into security and identity, right? The employee should know, the customer should know, people should not be tricked. That's an agentic workflow. You can let people know. There's ways of showing people within that. When it comes into health and banking, people want to know if a decision is being made on behalf of their health or their money. So you really got to think of through the decisioning model. Is it a decision that requires discussion, or is it, for lack of better terms, just a simple workflow that can get done? And so I'll give you an example. If I were refinancing my house, I don't know if I want to call into the help desk. Maybe I just want to type an email or do something. I'm okay interacting with an agent to see if you have all my documentation or if I need to send something over. That's something as a consumer, and I'm talking me personally, I'm okay with. But maybe I want to talk to a person about the actual rate or what's in the contract. So I like parsing out into pieces what's mission critical, life and death, versus, hey, this is work that we're just making easier and faster. Yeah, shoot, one there, and then we'll bring the mic up here. Yeah, great.
Yeah, regarding like managing my portfolio, so is there agentic AI can interface with any brokeraging account based on the decision, can execute the trade or realigning the stocks or any equities?
Let's talk about your portfolio. What's in there? No. I don't. I'm going to be careful what I say here. So, I think when it comes to portfolio management banking, there is a place for AI and agentic AI in there. I think I'm going to leave this at that is the challenge in the industry again of where do you have the human, the broker, which is not going away, shouldn't go away, but an omni-channel. So, in my portfolio, I just had some options vest, and I wasn't sure if I clicked the sell the cover or if I was going to write a check. I just didn't remember. And I remember having to track down the person that was assigned to me. In that case, I would have been fine just interacting with an agent, me personally. And I ended up going into my portfolio, and I didn't know where a certain button was, and the person was on the phone. I felt like when you taught your parent how to use a computer, the person showed me, click on this tab, go here. I felt really silly. It worked, but I spent probably about 45 minutes from the time I thought about it to call in. If I could have just interacted in my portfolio with an agent, probably would have been faster and easier for me, and frankly, easier on them. So I think there's a lot we can do in portfolio management. Again, where do we want the decision to live versus where is it just general workflows and getting information? Gentleman up here has a question.
You said that not love your technology, love your problems. So I'd like to know what are the problems you are working right now as AWS related to AI, agentic AI, and what is next? So I want to know from the AWS prospect, from your prospect, what are the exact problems you're working on that?
Yeah. So this concept of loving the problem and not the solution, I'll kind of point back at myself, my company, and us that come from the technology side. It's easy to fall in love with an agent, but an agent isn't going to do anything for you without you thinking about how you want to build it. So at AWS, again, back to the first question, we see a lot of this customer success, nurturing of a customer journey. We also see the employee journey. I mean, how hard is it to onboard an employee effectively and have a good experience? Do you have to call someone? Do you have to look through things? And so whether it's the employee journey, the partner journey, the customer journey, anything around that can go back to true CSAT, retention. I hate to use the word productivity. Productivity matters, but I think productivity is an easy buzzword, but really a business outcome that really helps. 100%, 100% onboarding of that. I mean, I did.
It's a cyber aspect of that. You were talking about the agentic aspect of it.
Sure, I like it. I love the dialogue here. So the question is, go deeper, basically. So let's talk customer success. So regardless of what you do in your company, do you know what the churn rate is? Customers that leave. Do you know why they leave? And do you know the signal within your company when a customer is at risk? And then what happens? Is the customer success manager responsible for that? Do you have a portal? Do you have a partner? Like, everyone has churn, everyone. Why wouldn't we put Agentic in that flow to preactively get in front of customer situations? So it's everywhere. I mean, it sounds silly, but I'll tell you a true story. I was traveling, and the hotel brand that I use does a great thing where I can text them if I want anything. And I can tell them I'm arriving late, everything. It's basic, but it's good. I actually wanted a dinner recommendation. I get so crazy with Yelp and all these things. I just wanted someone to tell me, and the concierge was gone. I actually like talking to the concierge. And I thought to myself, why don't they just have an agent? Why don't they just put it in the workflow of my phone that says, do you want to make a reservation on property or off property? Like, that would help me. Now, am I not going to go to that hotel chain because they didn't have that? No. But if they knew me, I don't have time to go monkey around with the reservation, but I also wanted to go eat something decent. But I was in a city where it was a little bit dangerous. So it wasn't just the restaurant. I didn't know where I could walk at nighttime by myself. And so if that hotel was thinking about me and the guest experience, maybe an agentic workflow would have made my experience better and just built my brand loyalty. But it's a great question, and we have about 3 more minutes. We can do these if you guys want to keep going. But this is what we have to think about. How do we take agentic and make it real to actually serve our customers, serve our employees? This side's been quiet. Oh, there we go.
My name is Arym. I'm a founder of Fabric Labs.
Yeah.
We're building simulation environments for AI agents for very, very deep evaluations. And I talked to, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, with Island Glazer, somewhere around like a couple of weeks ago. He's I think, principal of Gen AI at AWS, the GTM side. So I wanted to ask, like, especially you guys have this Sage, the platform that you're managing data for the enterprise customers and like for other customers, building AI agents within them, like you building like a new platform to build AI agents. I want to know, like, how do you guys run the evaluations on it? How do you like test those systems, monitor both online and offline side? Because what we've noticed, I was a founding engineer at Morty AI. I was on the reinforcement learning side at General Motors. What I've noticed, especially with agentic systems, is you cannot evaluate them using like traditional MLOps tools, like Arise and others. You have to have a significantly deeper insight running a simulation environment, especially multi-agent systems, or like communicate between each other, having like hundreds of tools, hundreds of databases that they access. So how do you guys manage this part?
I think the spirit of the question is, how does one evaluate an agentic solution? Right? So in the case of what SingleStore is doing, where they're offering AI different models in, it's great because you have a solution that you either own or can test out and go see there, and it's great when it's built into a product stack. And just like any other functionality of software, you can go test that and look at. And what I'm about to say in the second part, I still think remains in that use case. But there's also, if you're building something on your own, and it goes into, yeah, you have to test these things with real life, real world data, but when and how do you go flip it into production? And so the word is preparation, right? You don't want, if you're going to go tackle your customers and put it in your call center, you really want to do some testing and thinking before you go flip that on. And so maybe you go carve out, a beta group or different things of that. And so happy to talk a little bit offline, but it needs to be very thoughtful, everything from the data and governance all the way down to the groups of people that are going to use this for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. And regarding the data part, the most difficult is actually going to your customers and collecting the data that you absolutely know is correct. We call it ground truth data that you can test your agent upon. And what we've noticed is this is the hardest part, because you cannot just generate it, or you cannot just even manually create it. You still have to work with your customers. What we are working on is essentially automating that part. So if you have already customers' existence, we already run the simulation environments on the existing one and generating synthetically the golden and ground truth data set internally within Fabric Labs. Thanks so much.
I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you for having me here. Love the energy, love the questions. Enjoy the rest of the show.